I think there's very little that compares to an African sunrise. For some reason there's some clouds in the sky this morning. A little bit of what I'm feeling inside as well. Clouds in the skies, clouds in my heart. So today I'm faced with the harsh reality of farming and what it takes to be a farmer and what it takes to do any sort of permaculture. To give you a bit of feedback, or a little bit of background, I'm an estate agent in a town called Otjiwarongo. Now we have a population of 50,000 people. Namibia is one of the least, it's the second least dense countries in the world. And so 50,000 people in Otjiwarongo are all 90% of them live below the poverty line. We have at least 70% unemployment, maybe more, I guess. So Otjiwarongo, the majority of Otjiwarongo lives in squatter camps. Those little tin houses that you see in rural Africa and rural Indian townships. It's extreme poverty. And so I have driven 1,900 kilometers to come and visit some old friends. Now they do a very intensive, in our standards, intensive feedlot operation in the north of South Africa. This is what the cattle look like. They're quite happy animals. It's not something I think I would ever do, but they are happy, the cattle are happy. And also have the Ankulis. Now Ankuli is a breed of cattle with big horns. They are trying to rescue sort of the breed. It's being eradicated in Central Africa for the horns that they have. But the horns might also be the rescue of the breed, because the horns are very valuable in the US and other countries where they are used for furniture and decorative pieces and so on. So they import them, spend a lot of money on them, and make them more with embryos, and quite a hell of a scientific process that they go through. They have other cows that carries the embryos of these cows, not these ones, the Ankulis of course. These are all feedlot cattle. So back to my story. I driven 1,900 kilometers to come and visit my friends and to speak to them about farming options in Namibia, and we did the math last night, and it comes down to, if there's no people, then you can farm and produce what you want. If there's nobody to buy it, then there's nothing you can do. And so my friend, who's about my father's age, sort of almost gave me a hiding, because he's explaining to me that I'm having my wife and children in these ideal conditions. Although our living standards are quite high, we sort of just make it month to month, living on our estate agent business, which is terrible, because in a town like Otjiwarongo, you work. We are the top agency in Otjiwarongo, but even being the top agency in Otjiwarongo, if there's no sales, then there's no sales. Then what do you do? Being the top of nothing isn't that impressive. And living from permaculture in Otjiwarongo is almost impossible. From training other people, there's almost no options, because first of all, people don't know anything about permaculture. Second of all, 90% of the population doesn't even have enough money to buy bread for the next day, so training them financially, just to start off, is not viable. Obviously, if you can feed them, then that becomes a different situation. The products that you produce in a permaculture system obviously takes a bit of time. So I'm just going to turn the camera a little bit upwards, since I'm trying, my arm is getting tired walking through the bushes. These guys are all coming to inspect me. Hey cows. Not cows. It's I turn the camera around. This is quite interesting. And so being number one of nothing doesn't help. Trying to sell products to people that can't afford them doesn't help. Training people who actually only want bread, and farmers that has to compete against the global scale, because that's the other thing that happens, is 90% of Namibia's products gets imported from very developed countries. So if you don't farm in a very, very impressive way, then your products are simply more expensive than any other product. You cannot farm vegetables in a country with almost no water and try to do it competitively against a country with a lot of water, and try not to use pesticides, and try to save all the little animals. So currently my harsh reality is that my permaculture dreams are simply ruining my family financially, and it's quite a hard pill to swallow. I'm considering leaving Otjiwarongo, moving to one of the big cities. My heart sort of sinks into my shoes just saying that out loud. Moving to one of the big cities so that I can look after my kids the way they need to be looked after, and look after my wife the way she needs to be looked after. And so this is sort of the harsh realities that I need to deal with today. But I think in a big town there is a lot of, if you ever seen Geoff Lawton's urban permaculture videos, there's in a big town there's a lot of hope for permaculture. And so this is the farm that I'm visiting today. I'll put some pictures up here of the Ankulis. Later on today I'm going to get a whole genetics course on how to select cattle, and I don't think I'm going to video it, but they have quite a very impressive staff here, vets and scientists and all sorts of things, and I've got access to all of them. And so the training I think I'm going to receive over the next couple of days is going to be, sorry, just opening the gate here. Training I'm going to receive over the next couple of days on how a system works like this is going to be invaluable for my future endeavors on trying to change the food system and the way we consume meat, and how we farm meat, and how we farm in general in Africa, how we can get local farmers involved. So I'm really looking forward to it. And then tomorrow I'm going over to Botswana. He's going to show me a lodge that they own there. It's 120 kilometers from here, and then the day after that I'm visiting another friend. It's another 120 kilometers in a different direction. His son. Now they have a different operation. They farm with cows and calves, and then they do flowers and all sorts of smaller things, I think closer to my idea of what farming should be like. Just left my mug here on the pole. And so all hope is not lost. It's different challenges, and I'm not saying I'm eagerly awaiting my challenges, but I'm taking them head on and seeing is it that I can still best do my permaculture dreams and look after my family the best way I can. And so that is the end of my story. I hope to bring you some more permaculture videos. My things are going to change. We're most likely going to leave the land that we have in Otjiwarongo, and so I'll show you what we do in the big city with permaculture. Big city in Africa is very different than a big city in a different country, and big city is almost also a very relative term. Googling, we only have 2 million people in Namibia, which is tiny. I think it's a small suburb of a small city in different countries. So, and they're very, very widely distributed. So I'm very excited to share my journey with you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.